I don't even know if I'm live.
You're live. 6, 7,
You're
7,
live.
8, 9, 10 seconds in, 11 seconds in.
Streaming now.
We didn't get it. We didn't
It's
get
a good thing.
counted.
Oh, we don't need to.
We're
Because
here.
guess what? Here we are. It's been 3 weeks probably since we all got together. And all y'all out there thought we were gone. Well, guess what? We're not.
Said it's been a long time.
We've been busy.
Cue the Wolf of Wall Street clip. I'm never leaving. I ain't never leaving.
Yeah. There's a quote. There's a quote right now. I think it's on Instagram. I can't remember who the actor is, but he's like, just because I ain't posting, don't mean I'm not working.
Yep.
It don't mean I'm not. I'm just making moves in silence. I'm making moves in peace. Just so if I ain't posting, that don't mean things aren't happening.
Back to making the move in silence. There's another podcast I listen to, and the guy's favorite thing when that comes out is a Lil Wayne lyric. Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a few weeks. We are in official go time, and it's fun to watch because every one of us we're pretty overwhelmed right now. I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot of things going on. The phone's ringing. We got turnover on our guys, on our labor. Just trying to keep up with everything that's happening right now. So we are in the spring rush. Would you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
You could say that.
Jake, you could say that. When did you have snow on the ground? 5 days
Oh,
ago. You sent the picture?
No, like 15 minutes ago, man. It was snowing 15 minutes ago here, so
Gosh.
it's almost April 20th, and we got snow.
Is the
All
weather
right, so-
dynamic enough? You still get some growth. Like grass still going to start. You got to still make tall grass short.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime it snows this time of year out here, it typically melts within a few hours, and that precipitation from the atmosphere, I feel like, is just charged with all sorts of good growing nutrients for this grass. So yeah, it actually makes the grass pop.
That's awesome.
So how far away are you from so it might not be your go time yet. You got how much longer until that happens?
So we out here, we just kind of have been wrapping up big time, like spring cleanups. And then we're in the week of, what is it? April 17th or whatever. And we are just starting our first mows, but we're not really cutting green grass. Like we're just like sucking up dead leaves off the lawn, maybe some sticks, maybe just topping the grass. And then I'm following that up with aerations and getting some fertilizer down to feed that grass. So yeah, it's definitely not our heavy growth time yet. I would say in about 2 weeks, we're going to be hitting that heavy growth.
All
That
right.
heavy growth, like if it's like a weekly lawn, you're coming back 5 days, 7 days later, and you're like, dang, this could have used it every 5 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
Right? We're in that time right now in Maryland. Sean, I see you nodding your head. I mean,
We're in the every
been my
3-day phase right now in Maryland, man. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes, I mean you guys in Maryland, you're at it. I think Jake. It sounds like Jake to me. You probably got like a couple more weeks tops until you're not seeing those sub-freezing temperatures, and you guys are at it.
Yeah, I think I told you on the phone yesterday, man. We're supposed to get down to 25 on Friday night, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Like what?
We were at 37 this morning, or actually, I think it was like 34 or something when my wife first walked out to go to work this morning.
Yeah.
But it warmed up quick.
And so was Jamar because he's down in Houston, so he's seeing sub-freezing temperatures all the time, right?
That's why I got my mask on.
Yeah.
You got some new swag there, Jamar?
Swag,
Nice.
baby.
Dang.
Jamar's like, man, it hadn't been sub-freezing here since like January 5th.
Right. February 31st.
Yeah, exactly. So Jake, I got a question for you, man. So when you guys are coming out, you're doing your marketing and you're pushing your marketing out before How far in advance are you doing that before your spring rush? I kind of want to gauge that from you guys. I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So we're typically touching base with our customers around that first and second week of March. And then we're not really actually putting boots on the ground until maybe at the earliest the last week of March. Um, but typically that first week of April is when we're driving around and starting to see not only us but other crews out and about. So yeah, we typically tend to contact them, 3 weeks before we even put boots on the ground. But then, as you guys know, a lot of people are procrastinators and maybe don't even look out in their backyard for weeks at a time. And so I would say here in another week or two is when the majority of people are going to look out and be like, oh crap, I got a hayfield out there,
Yeah.
So that's really when the phones are going to be ringing off the hook. And I have a feeling you guys, I mean, down in Texas and, Ronnie and Dan down in Florida, I feel like you guys were going through that about a month ago, and I was still like eating Cheetos on the couch,
Yeah.
doing
I mean,
something
you were
silly,
posting
but
pictures. You were posting pictures in your Discord of like ice and snow on your back porch, and it's already
yeah,
been 70 degrees here for more than one day.
yeah.
So
So it's cool to see, and then I'm really interested too because like you guys got the warm season grasses, so I'd like to hear more about that stuff.
well, you know what? It's interesting because we're seeing a transition there. I don't want to get lost on topic. We're seeing a transition going from St. Augustine to Emerald zoysia grasses around where we are. But before I get to that, William and Sean, you guys are both in Maryland. And from what Jake's saying, Will, from your perspective, your go time, I think you mentioned earlier, unless I'm wrong, was it 2 weeks ago you guys really started to see the phone ring?
Yeah, it's usually right around April 1st. I mean, we started fall cleanups. Sorry, we started spring cleanups probably third week of February for a
Hmm.
lot of customers that we had repeat, and we knew we could start to get those jobs done. March is just nuts for cleanups and getting everything organized and ready to go. And yeah, I think we cut the first lawn like March 28th or 27th, whatever that Friday was, and just have been going ever since. So
Yeah.
it's that time.
Yeah. And Sean, I know you guys aren't far away from each other, you and William at Live Sust. What are you guys seeing the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. We push everything back. We had a lot of stuff that we were trying to get ready the first couple of months this year, and so we didn't really start anything until I guess the last week of February. And then I thought we were busy in March, and then April has just absolutely
Yeah.
exploded, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. It's been, it's I'll look back on it with fond memories at some point in the future, but right now we're going through hell, man.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure it all out as we go. So
Yeah.
it's been good problems this year though, right? Like everybody's people are showing up. The employees are showing up in the mornings and getting out there and doing the work, but it keeps coming. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing about what we're doing too, because I feel like what we're doing from a self-rewarding standpoint, we're starting to hear a lot of people calling us that are interested in electric lawn care. And I've had multiple calls, and could be a whole nother topic, but I mean, I probably had a dozen calls in the last 2 weeks that people will leave a message if we're not available to answer, which is another problem. But they're leaving messages saying, I just want to make sure that you guys are all using electric lawn care because that's important to me. And I've spoken to everybody that's called us, and they're pretty specific in their conversations that this is what they want to have. They want to make sure this is an electric experience. We can backtrack on that. But I do want to ask Jamar, because you and I are both in Texas. So we're in the southern lawns, like you're talking about, Jake. We saw this boom in Dallas. Jamar probably saw it sooner because he's in Houston. So, right. So it's further southern. There's more humidity. The grass is growing quicker. And it's almost like Florida, right? Dallas is in that upper kind of prairie, Texas, high Texas land. We saw it 4 weeks ago. Jamar, when did you guys see the flood of people start calling you?
Honestly, it happened. Our situation is a little bit different. So
Okay.
honestly, it happened. It happened once the temperatures got steadily in the high 70s. So like St. Augustine hadn't really woken up yet. It
Yeah.
hadn't really. I mean, it's green, but like it hadn't started its growth phase. So once we got a good like straight week or two of like, hey, it's warm, it's beautiful, skies are blue, the clouds are white. That's when it started popping off.
Uh-huh.
And then everybody and a mama and a auntie started calling right before Easter because they want everything done and cleaned up before Easter. And it was like, yeah, you got to get a line, sweetie. And so we noticed that, and we're starting to get another rush of people who want to get things done before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And so we are kind of past the whole temperature thing. Like nobody, everybody just wants their stuff cleaned up. We've had weird weather the past couple of years here.
Yeah.
Where we're having freezes that we don't get, right? And they're getting late. And so one of the things I have noticed about our warm season grasses is it's been slower to come out when we have these late season freezes. It's like it's confused.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I was growing February 28th, and now March 15th we got a freeze. Like, and then it's like, what the heck?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we got going on. That's the phones are off the hook, just in general, and just like you and I don't. We should probably do a whole nother show on this, but like people are actually calling and asking.
Yes.
For electric lawn service.
Yes. And they're making it very clear that this is what they want.
And it's great.
Whenever you speak to them on the phone.
And you know what's funny? What I found is most of them, they have their own electric mowers already.
Yes.
Right? They
just don't have the time to do it.
They don't have the time.
Yep.
or the will.
Right.
Or the want.
I don't know. I keep having to change this battery out. It takes me 3 days to mow my grass.
Yeah.
Right.
What they don't know is we're all experts at doing this. So we're like, we'll just switch the battery, blah, blah, blah. I have 2 batteries. And this is what
I could do it in 30 minutes. Don't worry.
Yeah. Sean's nodding his head. He's got a thought on his mind. What is your thought, Sean?
I just figured their batteries were red ringing on them and they needed somebody that had extras.
Oh man. So, hey, we all know what kind of gear we've been using. Sean, I saw you out on the news. You were on the news, yesterday, day before. He's famous now. This will probably be his last show, everyone, because
we can't afford
big time, you guys.
We just can't afford him anymore.
No, man, that was pretty cool. That was exciting. So I had reached out to quite a few different local news companies around here back in, I think the email that I sent out to everyone was like Happy Groundhog's Day or something. So it was like the beginning of February.
Yeah.
And crickets. I never heard back from anyone. And then like 2 weeks ago, one of the editors reached out to me as if I had just sent it the day before. It was like, hey, it's a cool story. It'd be great to run it for leading up to Earth Day. And so I jumped on it. Absolutely. Let's do it. So they met me out at the shop. We did a little interview, tons of great branding and stuff right in front of the trailer. And just talking about, basically what we talk about on here, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And they ended up following me out to the first account that day and got some cool shots of us cutting on the property there and doing a really nice story talking about, just the benefits of our equipment. And so it was pretty fun. Definitely got a bump of email traffic from that. So I've been digging out of a little hole here for the last 24 hours, but
yeah. So did you post is there a link to the video on your social, like your Instagram or Twitter or whatever?
You know what? I got to follow up and repost some of that stuff. I did it as a story, so I think it's down now. But I got to put together a post on all of our socials with the link to that for sure.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs to check it out. Luminary Lawns, Instagram, search the dude up.
It was a great video. Great video.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It was a great video, man. You did a great job. I mean,
Thank you.
You didn't sound nervous at all. You were almost like you knew you were famous when you went into that thing.
I think I was too tired to be nervous.
Oh, so
didn't even have time to think about it.
Cool stuff, man. It was cool to watch. I'm like, man, I know that guy, right? Everybody wants, anytime anyone's friend, right, is on the news, you're like, that's cool.
Hey, Ma, look, I'm on the news and it's not a mugshot.
Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Will, I got a question for you.
Yo,
What's going on over at Live Sust, man? You've got a operation happening. You're posting all kinds of stuff that everybody can't see, sharing on our Discord about everything you guys are scheming on with charging stations and new vans and all kinds of first of all, I've known you for a long time. I don't even know like how many clients you have. What's going on over there? Give us a rundown. This is a good
yeah,
thing.
love it, love it. So happy to kind of coming out of our box here versus where we were last year. So Sust, Live Sust Inc. is our registered name, but Sust is our go-to-market, just plain old Sust. Um, we merged, so we're in Montgomery County, Maryland. The beginning part of this year, we actually merged with another company, Solar Mowing, who's actually been doing electric lawn care since 2009 in Montgomery County. So we took the experience and everything they had and a great customer base. A lot of, I think we just talked about it here previously, people asking for this type of service. There's a lot of folks in Chevy Chase and Bethesda, Maryland, and those areas asking for that service.
Uh-huh.
Last year when we started Green Moco, we knew that was the case also in Olney. What was just going to be tight roots, small, what we were going to focus on.
Yeah.
Through a series of conversations, we decided to join forces and make this thing a heck of a lot bigger than we could be just by ourselves. So through the process of rebrand and a couple of different things we're focused on right now operationally, you're right. Public facing, we're just under 200 customers. We've got a couple of our vans with our ramps on the back, charging stations on board, ready to go out and service those clients. We've learned a lot and iterated a lot, and have a lot of things that will definitely be coming from that.
Yeah.
We've learned a bunch from Lawn Pro Marketing, which you guys are doing to help us in terms of branding and whatnot. We've got these two great brands. I think one that's been around forever, 2009. I guess we can kind of say that forever. And then our new one that we were doing brought technology to the lawn business to make it happen. So big, long way to say about 200 customers. We've got 3 vans in the field. We've got a maintenance team as well. And just running fast. I mean, every day, to your point, every day it's 4 or 5 or 6 inquiries. Everything we do is subscriptions to makes it easy for our customers, from basic mowing up to the complete packages we can deliver to them. Simple monthly payments. So we're trying a few different things. I think I might have said this on one of the previous podcasts, and we obviously talked about it here. People actually asking for this type of service.
Right.
I still believe, maybe it'll change as we go through this year, but I still believe main reason anyone's picking us, or probably any of us here, but from Sust, is because we pick up the phone, right, or get back to them and are responsive and able to provide estimates and get to them. The second is the noise piece, right? Everyone's sick and tired of it. Blower season last fall, we definitely talked about it on an episode.
Yep.
The third is probably to tell their friends and family and others and kind of signal. It says something about you, not pompous says something about you, but says something about your decision and your values, just like solar panels on your roof or driving a certain car, or the type of clothes you wear. And then number 4 is because they actually care about it, either being electric or being sustainable or being for the environment.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the last piece I'll say, and then any other questions you have. But we really are approaching Sust as, how do we help folks? How do we deliver that sustainability? We know electric lawn mowing is number 1, but what are the other pieces? What are the other things? What are the areas we can focus on to make it just as easy as saying, hey, I want my lawn cut by someone that's using electric equipment, and that says something about me, to what other things can I do? And it's been a fun ride so far, and there's more to come. Maybe I'll leave it as a teaser, but there's more to come, and we're excited to see.
I love it, man, because you guys you're incredibly passionate about what you're doing. And from the get-go, it didn't take me, when we started talking to each other, almost 2 years ago, we started chatting, and you've always had that same passion from the get-go, where it's like, I'm going to go do what I'm going to go do, and I'm going to go be the best at what it is I do. And I'm going to, and you guys have got a cool team, and you've seen some massive growth in a very, very short period of time. That leads me to 1,000 different questions about, how are you guys running logistics? Because we've been growing pretty quick. as
Yeah.
a company. Ecomo has, and we're doing at least 100% growth annually for the last 3 years. And that's been pretty difficult for us to keep the wheels on it. You seem pretty relaxed in conversation right now.
No, that
um,
I've got a good poker face. So no, my
yeah,
years in
well,
sales I've got the scars to show it to
yeah.
look at a glass half full, right?
Well, you're playing the poker face really well. So, I mean, how many guys what are you doing on the back office side? You don't have to get too detailed about it,
Yeah.
but just give us a rundown of what you're doing for logistics, who's on that role. I don't know. Let us
Yeah,
have it.
you want to know more. So maybe we'll get back to that. And I think that was even part of what we talked about topic wise here is there's certainly a balance between growth, healthy growth, throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and hope the wheels stay on. And I think we all feel like we're just holding on right now, but it's a calculated hold on versus I'm going to go buy this $100,000 worth of equipment and a setup and charging and a van and spend all this money and then hope that we're able to make our money back
Yeah.
versus actually being calculated in what we're doing. So what are we doing on the back end? I mean, we've got a great team that's put together. We're right. I think we talked about systems, right? We're on Jobber for the front end right now,
Mhm.
client portal and stuff like that, because we needed to have something. We are in the process of developing something much more customer facing. I feel like the problem with a lot of those businesses is the customer portal is the last thing they think about, not the first thing they think about. We all, as business operators, need something that works for our business. I would argue a lot of them do all the same things, and we could complain about what each one of them doesn't do. So, say
Yeah.
from our perspective, the back end logistics has been really a team of two, a team of three.
Okay.
We know our customers, we know the region, we know the area. Solar Mowing comes with a lot of history of what they've been doing. Sust as a business now is able to really leverage that history with, I think, no fear to leverage technology where we need it.
Yeah.
And that's maybe the biggest thing, because things as simple as bouncing in the vehicles and the guys having their phones and being able to manage their schedules on their phones, and a lot of the things that we've talked about, most of us are doing, we've all learned from each other in Discord. You just got to have the systems and the processes, not be stuck on anything that if it doesn't work, be able to change it quick, and then be calculated in the growth where we've had this growth, but we're still turning down lawns that don't fit our market. Right.
Yeah.
That was hard for me when we were talking about bringing some of these folks on and how we're going to look at this growth. Like, oh, it'd be great to get into that neighborhood. They're $4 million homes and they're on 2.5 acres. And I said, yeah, we don't want them. They're like, why don't we want them? Like, look at all the, and I said, we don't want them. Look at those numbers. And we broke it down on the whiteboard and they saw it and kind of figured it out. So how are we handling it? Being as calculated as we can. Right?
Yeah.
We're getting out over our ski tips for a moment and we're doing what we can, but we've got a great shop. We've got bulk mulch delivered there. We can control everything that we're doing. We've got recycling and composting that comes in and takes it away on site. So we've got a great lot set up. Everything's there, charging's there, everything's on board the van. So we've put together a good system, but we're not afraid to iterate on it. We had one of our guys there until 10:30 last night, and over the weekend probably till 10:30 twice, being able to put that in. So when the team came in, they were ready to go. And I'm sure each one of us has been putting in those hours.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just that high level of passion for what it is you're doing. Because, I mean, you guys are doing a lot of good shit. And you really are.
Yeah.
It's exciting just from the start to what it is that you're producing. I mean, like you said, you got people that are dedicated to this team. For those people that are listening that don't know, I mean, obviously we all chat with each other outside of this podcast, but we're always talking about, everything that you're doing to, to grow your business. And it's just cool to see what you guys are producing now.
Thanks, man.
It's super cool. Michael Reed, did you just step in, my friend? I see his.
I did. You caught me.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to sneak in.
Here he is, the man, the legend. Welcome, sir.
Trying to be incognito. It didn't work.
Well, it didn't work because I saw this black screen over here, and I'm like, Michael Reed's in here. I'm like, well, it's been 24 minutes and 38 seconds. So,
Oh,
what's going on with you, sir? How you been?
I've been good. How about you guys?
we're powering through it. We've been slammed, super busy, just a lot of balls in the air right now, and I'm gonna have to close the floodgates so we can just keep things under control, probably through the end of the year.
Yeah, I know that's always a tough time this time of year.
Yeah. So how's business spring rush for you guys?
It's good. I've tried to over the years tried to simplify things and tried to get away from heavy project based stuff, that keeps us real busy and is a big bottleneck this time of year. And it's been pretty smooth this year. We're growing very steadily with maintenance customers, spraying, mowing, and luckily we've been able to handle it so far with the guys. To this point, we need to hire probably one more here in the next month or so, but luckily it's not been as chaotic as it has been in previous years.
Yeah.
Michael, when you say hire when you say hire one more, I know you got the one man teams. Is that one more crew ready to put into the field? What do you mean by hire one more?
Yeah. We're at the point where we've got a little bit too much for our other crews, so I'd probably hire one more that would, kind of do multiple roles. They might mow a couple days a week, and they might treat lawns, do mulch the other days.
Yeah.
So we're just to that awkward point where you don't quite have enough work for a full crew, but you have too much for what the people you have.
Yes. That's interesting you share that, and thank you, because we're going through the same thing right now, and I'm like, we don't really have we're having this second crew, right, that will cut grass 3 days a week and then do landscaping on the landscaping team 2 days a week. But if we don't have enough landscaping stuff loaded up, then they're having to actually go out and cut more lawns. There's that balance. I guess that's what you're talking about, right?
Well, that's where I was pushing when you said add crews. Like, double click on that more, Michael. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but double click on that more. Like, how you think through that. How you think through that growth. Do I shut down the floodgate? Like, am I happy with where I'm at to make sure it doesn't mess it up? Do I let it creep a little bit to grow and you can reallocate the team, or do you wait until you get to a certain point, you step in to fill it? Like, how do you think through at what point? Basically, I guess the question is, how do you think through at the point where you're ready to add another team, another crew, and do that growth without burying yourself, continue to work on, not in the business?
Yeah, and fortunately, I haven't had to step out in the field and do anything this year, thankfully. But that point could come. But to answer your question, I don't think at least I haven't reached that point to where I have it figured out. It's all. I think it's just going to be normal for our businesses until we get to a certain size to always be thinking like, oh, do I need to hire somebody? Well, if I hire this guy, I'm not gonna have enough work for him, or should I just, have my guys keep working? It's always a tough decision, because you hire somebody and, you got to keep them busy and you're losing money.
If you're not,
so you got to hurry up and sell to get them full. But if you don't hire them, you're going to run your guys ragged. You're going to run off the guys that you do have. So, I don't, I'm getting better at it, but I think that's, that same thought process still goes through my head, just like it does yours. But the longer I'm in business, the more I err on the side of hiring people, even if you're not sure if you need them or not, because it's much much harder to get team members than it is to get customers.
yes.
So if you have the opportunity to get a team member, you better take it.
Yeah. And you got to raise your game from a sales perspective and a marketing. I mean, you got to bring that business in. So you're the one carrying the weight, right? You brought this other person in. You've committed to your decision to bring this person in to help when you need it, but you also have that obligation as a business owner. Like, I feel this way. I hope you guys do, that you've got to bring in business now you've made this commitment, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So now, it just forces you to get out there and sell and do what you have to do to fill them out, because, it's always going to be like that until you get to a certain size. You maybe have 10 guys and they can, divide up the workload of an extra person. But when you're smaller, it's not going to be like you yesterday you have enough work for 4 guys, and then tomorrow you just magically have enough for a whole new crew. You're always going to have that awkward point where you're having to either work your existing guys harder for that extra work until you can hire somebody and you have
Yep.
enough work for it, or it's always going to be like that.
Quick question for you, Michael and William. I'd like to hear, and whoever else wants to jump in on this. For our industry, and I know there's going to be variables here depending on the quantity of services that you offer any individual customer. But Michael, have you found that there's a certain amount of revenue that you expect one employee to bring in? As far as gross revenue, or do you measure it by one employee can typically take care of 50 customers? How do you kind of go off of that?
Yeah, that's going to be, that's, I wouldn't say those two are correlative. I wouldn't, I do think that you should have a certain amount of revenue per employee. I try to aim for no less than 100,000 per employee, but hopefully closer to like 120.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything more you can do than that would be even better. But you got to think of it. If you're paying a guy, $35,000 a year or something, that's 35. If he should be bringing in at least $100,000 if you're trying to keep your labor under like a third or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I would say I try to I think last year we had probably 3 full-time equivalents to do 450. So each guy was doing closer to 150. Which is on the higher side because we do some treatments, we do Christmas lights, we do some higher margin stuff. But yeah, if you're much below 100, I think that's a challenge. And yes, we do. Depending on the service, I kind of know how many customers our guys can handle. I know that our one-man crews can mow about 60 lawns a week. So, we can kind of schedule that way and kind of figure out what we need that way.
Nice. William, how about for you? Do you guys run 2-man crews, or what are you guys running up there?
Yeah, so right now it's 2-man crews. We have a Transit Connect that's in the process of getting rigged up that we're going to run a one-man crew out of for some of the lawns that fit that, both size-wise and smaller mowers and things like that.
Marketing,
the efficiency
too.
of the teams. I'm sorry?
And marketing for,
Sure.
get that brand out there.
And have
in
the
a new
focus,
area.
right? 100%, right? Having the focus on where we're going, right? Building SEO, doing all the things that we need to do. Doing some of the EDDM actually was pretty good for us. We did it more targeted in like a 3-prong approach. I know people have had different success. It's kind of put it in and set it and forget it, but we had some good success there. So what are we doing today? 2-man crews, two-man crews, and the enhancement crew is out there now. They're able to get through it pretty good, and we're still kind of going through some of those numbers. But we've got our experiment of the 1-man, right? After seeing what Mike's done, after seeing some of the success that others have had. I know you kind of toyed with the idea. I think Sean's doing it as well. I wanted to burn the guys out. So the short answer is 2-man, but we're gonna experiment with both.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've always done the 2-man. I mean, occasionally we'll do the 1-man, right? If we have too many on one day, we'll send 1-man. We'll pull one guy from the landscaping team, like Michael was saying earlier, and put them on lawns to help out and take the overflow. Sean, you guys are also running the 1-man crews. Jamar, you got 2-man crews, right?
Man, I'm doing every man crew. Whoever I can fit. Whoever I can
Just pile
fit
them
on
all in the
these,
van.
Put them in there. Let's go.
Well, one thing's for sure, man. You got a badass looking van. We got 2 of them now. You got another one, and you're getting it wrapped, right?
Yeah, I just took that in today to get it wrapped up.
Look at this guy, man.
Yeah,
Down
man.
in Houston, just making it happen. Fun to
man.
watch.
Sean, do you run 1-man crews out of those C-Maxes, or are you running 2?
Yeah, we switched over to 1-man crews this year as well. And it's been working pretty great so far. We can kind of flex people a little bit easier wherever we need them. It's a lot easier to manage the schedules this way, I think. I got one guy that's dedicated solely to mowing, another guy that's kind of bounces back and forth. I'd love to honestly get another person in here to help out with the mowing and get the hybrid position almost entirely focused on landscaping. But yeah, man, I guess, I had a question for Michael kind of about, burning people out early on, but I think you kind of answered it there as far as what your target revenue is for people. Just looking at our numbers this year, we're up almost 100% over last year for the past 8
Sure.
weeks. And we're doing it with about 60% of the manpower of what we did
Yeah.
last year. So both very good numbers, but I feel like we're kind of walking a tightrope right now with the amount of bodies that we have. And, if anybody goes down or calls out, things like that, it definitely throws in a major wrench into the schedule this time of year. Thankfully, we've been pretty lucky so far. One of the guys twisted his ankle one day, but other than that, it's been pretty good. People have been showing up and doing their work.
Well, I think what you learn over the years is the more you can balance your workload over the whole year and make it consistent, the easier it's going to get for hiring, keeping people, where you don't have these peaks and valleys where you need 4 or 5 guys and for a few months, and then you only need 3 in the summer, and then you need more guys again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've built our services around, just to do that. And it has smoothed things out a lot. Like I said, it's usually very chaotic in the spring, and we haven't really had any issues, and we're able to do every year. I think we do more revenue with less people. I think we had the same amount of employees last year to do the 450 as we did the year before to do 275. So, it's just the guys are getting more done. We're able to, where we're really winning is we're able to generate revenue in those times when we used to be slow and have nothing coming in. We're able to fill those gaps
Gotcha.
in the off season with Christmas lights and different things like that.
Yeah.
And that stuff really adds up for your whole year, as opposed to trying to do it all in a 1 or 2 month period in the spring.
Yeah. Having that we do Christmas lights too, and then obviously we do also do mosquito fogging, and that's kind of like our saving money, right? So when we do
Yeah.
hit those valleys like you're talking about, that's the capital we need to make sure we keep everybody we have, and they can put food on the table. That's important to us. I think having that, that is a safety net to a certain degree, right? You guys are doing lights. I mean, you've even got your own website for what is it? Quiet Lawn Christmas Lights, or
Yeah,
what is the
holiday
name of it?
lights by Quiet Lawn.
That's
But
it.
but yeah, we've been really working on building that out, and it's taken years here. And hopefully you guys will get it going much faster. But whatever you can do. But yeah, I know I wish, Sean, I had a better answer for you, but it's always going to be that point where you're it's never going to be a clear answer which way you need to go. You just need to make a decision and grow your business. That's why it's so important to make sure you're priced right and make sure you're priced profitably, because it's really tough to hire people when you're already losing money or not making enough. It's really hard to do that. But when you get your pricing right and you have more money coming in, and you have some extra cash in the spring, instead of being depleted from not having nothing coming in all winter, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and hire people.
Yeah, man, I think we've got our pricing down pretty good this year. Early on right now, it's a little rough to be honest with you. Just the grass has absolutely exploded, unlike anything we've seen the previous 2 years. I think the warm winter that we had, I mean, I could probably count on one hand the number of days that we had below freezing this winter, which never happens here. And as soon as we started getting a couple of days above 70, it just exploded. I mean, we could literally cut the same properties every 3 days right now and look at them and still think it's a jungle. So when we get out there 7 days out, and the biweekly accounts that we've got that are 14 days, man, it's one of my guys had to triple cut, I think, 4 properties today.
Uh-huh.
It's
Wow.
been crazy. So I mean, I think if we average this out across the whole year, I think our pricing's absolutely fine. But we're hitting some thick shit right now, and it's slowing us down a little bit. So we're
Well, and that's going to be every year. It's going to be better or worse, but it's still going to be. This is always going to be a peak in
Yeah.
your business. So you need to, maybe you can only offer mulch installation before and after this time to kind of balance out that workload so that you're not trying to do it all at the same time. And
Yeah.
you're short on labor. You're working your guys to death when it's the hardest part of the year. And then in 2 months they're all standing around working 30 hours or 25 hours. So just stuff like that. You'll learn. You'll tweak every year to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I know that's a tough situation.
I think that's just like a huge point right there, and that's something that I feel like I think I'm in the 5th year of business, and I feel like I'm finally kind of honing in on that. It's like, hey, when we're doing mulch, and like you've got like a 3-week period, speak now or hold your peace until next year.
Yeah.
And when we're doing sprinkler turn-ons, you've got 3 weeks, and then we're moving on. And just communicating that to customers, because then we're able to, and I say we, and I'm actually back to solo. That's a story for another time, but I'm able to completely focus on the service that I'm providing at that time, and that is keeping the tools and everything on the truck and the trailer that are necessary for those jobs. And it's just those tiny logistical things that save
Makes you a lot more
headaches.
efficient.
Absolutely.
And the important thing you said there is that you run your business, not your customers. Like this.
Mhm.
Waiting till my customers tell me when I can start mowing their grass, or them canceling, or or they don't think the grass needs it. Like you guys need to understand that you have to run your business, and if you let your customers do it, you'll go out of business, or they'll just drive you crazy. Get to where you need to communicate how things work with you up front. You need to be very open with that and let the customers know. But hey, this is when we start mowing. This is our schedule for this year. We do not skip visits. We do not do this. Just be upfront about that. Let them know how it works to do business with you, or otherwise you're going to miss out on a lot of revenue, and they're going to drive you nuts with stuff like that. And you tell them this is when we install mulch. This is when we do this or that. Like you run your business. That's the beauty of having your own business, is you can
Right.
do that stuff yourself. And if your customers want to do that, they can go start their own business, and then
Well, and you be a magnet, not a jail. You be a
God.
magnet, not a jail, in attracting the customers to you, right? That's
Yeah.
the best thing. Just like you said, of we run the business. I think some people would hear that and think, well, isn't that an arrogant thing to say? Well, it's not. And I think every one of us kind of comes at it from the same angle of like, it's not that we're being a jerk, right? It's not that we're trying to be rude. It's that we understand, we know our business, we want to run our business well, and we want to be in business for many years to come. And I think coming at it from that level of confidence and actually believing that, to be able to tell that to your customer,
Yeah.
that's a learned skill. That's a tough thing when you first think about it, or something you wouldn't maybe naturally think about. And when you do, you're like, of course that's right. Like,
Yeah.
why would anyone
Yeah.
not do it?
Exactly.
Well,
that comes
Yeah.
after you've gotten your schedule full, and
Yeah.
your belly is full.
I don't
and
think, well, my belly's full, but I disagree with it. I think you.
No, I'm
I
saying
think
I
you
think
gotta-
I think it comes. What I'm saying is it comes naturally, right? That doesn't come from me. It came from me from day one, right?
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But like for most people, it'll come naturally. But nobody goes to McDonald's and gets upset because they can't catch a lobster sandwich,
Yeah.
right? It's not the place to do that. And our business, you just tell people, oh, that's not how we do things, and
Yeah.
we're just not the
Well,
people to do that.
it's gotta, always believe in a win-win situation. I don't do business with anybody or deal with anybody where it's not going to be a win for both sides. And, these customers that expect you to just, like you're just waiting at home in a stall and they call you out when they need you to mow, that doesn't work. This has got to be beneficial for us. And, I can't just tell my guys, hey guys, you're gonna have to stay home this week. Mrs. Smith doesn't want her grass cut this week. She doesn't think she needs it. We don't, we can't run a business like that, and I can't keep my guys happy. So, as long as you're upfront about that and you say, hey, this is our schedule, this is why we do this, and this, we don't skip cuts. I think most good customers are going to understand that this has to be a good relationship for both of you. It's not just get whatever they need when they want it, and so who cares about how it affects your business and your employees. But yeah, like Jamar said, you get that mentality after being in business so long, and falling for those same mistakes over and over again.
Stephen, it seems like this topic is hitting home for you. What do you think? What's coming up for you on this?
I think it's incredibly insightful. I mean, Michael, you obviously just kind of pointed out the obvious that we all know, but you worded it in a way that we all recognized, and we're like, yeah, he's right.
Well,
and
you
when
get lots
you
of years to think about it. You're
well,
like,
yeah, I mean, it's profound, and you're absolutely right because, we, to a certain degree, we had a Discord chat about this where I was like, I've got a few clients that will dictate what it is that's going to happen, right? Because first of all, they're a great client. They're just a little bit needy. But sometimes they will dictate my schedule, and to a certain degree, my interpretation, I'm losing control of my business whenever I give somebody else control of it.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And you pointed that out where I'm thinking to myself, I'm reflecting on what I'm doing while you're saying what you're saying. And I'm like, I need to send an email out like tomorrow that says, this is when we're doing this, right?
Yeah,
We're going to start mowing weekly. Okay. We've got all these people that they'll go on like monthly service during the wintertime, but we'll do leaf cleanup, like not on demand, but it is scheduled leaf cleanups. And then we'll get into the bi-weeklies, and then we'll roll into the weeklies. But we have some customers that roll into the weekly sooner than the others because they dictate to us. They go, okay, now we want to move to weekly service from bi-weekly. And we're like, all right, great. And that's what we do. I've been thinking about this all wrong by listening to what you're saying here. I need to be telling these people, this is what we're doing. And we're not going to wait to get an, you follow me? We're not going to wait to
Sure.
get an email from you. This is when we're going to start cutting weekly. It's
Yeah.
effective April 1st or May 1st or whatever it is. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm so
No.
glad that we're talking. I'm incredibly thankful that you came on here tonight to bring that and what I already knew. And you just, like I said, you verbalize it. And I'm like, he's right.
Well,
That
I
is what I
appreciate that, and this is came from a lot of years of doing it wrong. But when our customers sign up, they get an email. They have a nice calendar that we send them that shows them every cut that they're going to get for the rest of the year. It tells them how their agreement, their service agreement, tells them how many more cuts they have left in the year, and it cleans up a lot of that. We don't get any of this, hey, I don't think it needs it or any of that. So especially since we went to the subscription model and the monthly payments, that makes a big difference because the people when we were charging a price per service, the people before that were wanting to cancel in the middle of the summer when the grass wasn't growing as much, those people started to call us to ask where we were. If we were going to mow, because in their mind they've already paid for it, so they want to get what they paid for, even if the grass hasn't really grown significantly or not. So, just little things like that you learn that, all these little challenges in the business that you try different things to try to solve that problem and make that smoother, and that kind of works. But yeah, you definitely don't want your customers dictating your schedule. You need to be able to have that to be consistent for your employees, so that you can maximize the amount of revenue in the short seasons that we have. This business is not easy. Like this, there's a lot of challenges in this business, and we deserve to make money. We deserve to make it as easy as possible on ourselves and our employees. So, I think that's, like I said, part of that win-win situation. We're happy to do this very hard work, and we're happy to take care of this for these customers, but it's got to make sense for us, and it's got to be good for our business.
Yeah. And we put together that slick welcome email that says, this is what your service is going to be, and this is how much it's going to cost, and here's how you log into your customer portal, all these kind of things. But it's my understanding that you're dictating on the front end. Okay, this is when we are going to be servicing weekly on this specific date. Is that how you guys you've got your model built that way that
They
says
have they have a color coded calendar when they sign up, shows every week for the rest of the year that they're going to get their grass cut. There's no
right?
there's no like, oh well, we'll see how the weather does, and we'll see how the grass is doing by then, and then maybe we'll go to weekly. We're going to start weekly on this date, if we even offer that, and this is when we're going to go back to bi-weekly.
Got it. And you're
Well,
pushing out. And
Yeah,
you're
a lot of
pushing
customers
out.
like that. Like they're hiring you because they don't know how to do that shit, or they don't understand it. They want a lot of them like that clarity of what to expect. With that situation.
And so you're doing that on the front end. You're sending out an
Oh, yeah.
email to the client saying, "Hey, this is what the dates are going to be, and this is when we're going to transition back to biweekly or whatever the case may be." If you guys even do that during the winter months.
Yeah. I mean, we're shut. I mean, we don't mow at all in the winter. It's a good bit colder here than there.
Yeah.
I think in the wintertime. But yeah, they have the whole calendar for the rest of the year, and it's very specific to when we're going to be there.
Yeah.
So
Jamar.
there's no room for questioning it.
Yeah. And Jamar, you nodded your head. Are you doing the same thing with you've got a specific date that you start your weekly mowing? And what happens if they say, I'm not ready yet? What do you do?
It don't matter to me. The payment came out in the first.
Well, in our case, they already signed the
Okay.
agreement, including that. Their payments are based on mowing on that date. So in their mind, they've already paid for it, and so it wouldn't be something they'd really question. But if you're doing pay by service still, which there's advantages to, it's going to be more of a challenge. But you just need to communicate that up front. This is when we start. And they're going to know that from the beginning. This is when we start. It's not going to be a surprise.
Yeah, we never even have the language of per cut pricing.
Yeah.
On the quote, it literally says we'll be bi-weekly in the spring, bi-weekly in the fall, weekly in the summer,
Yeah.
once a month for winter. If you're on that plan, that's our lowest plan.
Right.
All the other plans say weekly during our growing season, and then bi-weekly during our leaf season, and then we have one plan that's just weekly all year round. And so we will give them the month that happens. So in March and April, we're bi-weekly in that particular plan, right? And then we go weekly, May through, I think it is October. And then we're bi-weekly, or maybe it's through September. Then we're bi-weekly October and November, once a month, December, January, February. And that's our lowest tiered plan.
Yeah.
So they know that off the top. Right now, in my pricing, I'm pricing it per cut, right, per budgeted hour that I plan to be there. But it's just spread out, plus a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
And so that's basically how we do it. We don't give anybody we'll even say and it's on the quote. So when you're choosing your plan, you see it right there.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, we may get some people to say skip us, but they're like doing us a favor. There's oh, you guys don't have to cut it.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to come out, right?
Yeah, we get that. We
still get that. And nobody's like, well, are you going to give me my money back? It's nah, we just don't have that conversation. It just doesn't come up. I've had a few people that will ask because everybody's new to it, right? Nobody's really, everybody down here, it's, $30. Come cut it weekly or bi-weekly. These guys charge $30 no matter, it's $30 for a leaf cleanup.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've had a lot of that type of stuff. You're going to charge me what? Well, I normally only get paid $35 for a cut. And I'm like, yeah, but this is leaf cleanup. They're well, there's no grass to cut. And it's so you should pay less.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're you ever picked up leaves before?
No, they haven't.
Well, you can clean them up if you like.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. I say, I mean, you could clean them up and we'll just come mow afterwards. But yeah, so at first we had a few people that will ask questions well, what will happen if it rains? You guys don't come out that week. And I just explained to them. I said, well, when it rains, if we come back the next week, there's twice as much grass to cut.
Yeah.
And so we don't. I said, here's the deal. It's peaceful lawn and garden. And so we have a simple flat rate you pay every month, and we'll take care of your lawn. It's basically going to be weekly during the summer. If we miss a week because it's been raining for 10 days, when we come back, we're going to make sure we have enough time to make sure we mow your grass properly. Right.
Mhm.
And that we don't come just rut up your grass just because we're in a hurry to try to get stuff done. And so once I explain it to people like that, they go, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. You know, and then we just, after that, we don't, you know, and then the other thing is like, how many of us pay our bills on automatic and you just don't really even think about it, right? It's just like,
Oh, it
you
drives
know,
me nuts.
yeah, once you get used to it, it's just like, you
Yeah.
know, and so, you know, that's the other part about the retention aspect of it. Like, as long as we're just making their stuff look good on a regular basis and communicating that stuff with them, you know, people just want it, you know, at least our ideal customer don't want to be bothered with this stuff. They just
Yeah.
want to come home and see it done. They don't care how many times a week you do it or as long as they don't look bad in front of their neighbors.
Yeah. How many
Well,
how many clients do you guys have right now, Jamar? What are y'all at?
Man, I don't know. Not many. I don't think we've even hit 60 yet.
Okay. You're growing fast.
We probably should probably be about 40 or 50% more. But one of the things we did run up on this year was I've talked about this before. It's just that average ticket price has gone up significantly for what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Everybody
so-
doesn't know that Jamar's making $10 million a year on 60 clients. It's unbelievable. He's got a book coming out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Go
That'd be
on,
nice.
man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
no,
know that.
but yeah, so we've done that, and all I do know is that we are booked out, and I'm trying to be careful. You know, I've listened to Mike Reed say this so much about reoccurring and the fluctuations, and the thing that I've always been very careful of is not getting too excited over the projects.
Yeah.
And really focus on the reoccurring stuff, because you can feel like you need 20 employees in the spring. And then when May comes around and all the cleanups are done, do you have enough
Work.
hours to put on there?
Yeah.
And so I've been questioning myself on that very thing, but I've noticed that I probably shouldn't have, and I should have executed on my plan that I've written out beforehand. Like this van I got, I should have had it 2 months ago. This employee 3 and 4, they should have already been here.
Yeah.
And so right now we're playing catch up, and I've completely just been pumping the brakes on estimates, because I just can't take on any more people without, I'm literally telling people, oh, we'll start up again in May. And like, okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Can you'll contact me? I said, yes.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of where we are right now, but I'm, now we're looking for employee 3 and 4. We just hired an old guy that ran circles around the young guys today. So he's,
I'm not surprised by that at all.
I mean, he's circles, buddy. Circles.
I'll show those kids.
Yeah.
I'm a Jedi with a string trimmer in my hand. Let me tell you.
That's exactly what he said.
I got thousands of hours with that string trimmer.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
He said that? He said he was a Jedi?
He said he's a ninja. Not a Jedi.
Oh, well, that's a step below a Jedi.
That's true. That's true.
That's cool, man. So he was just crushing it out there.
Crushing it.
I love it.
I mean, he 9 yards of mulch, he just ate it. Just 1,500 square feet of beds weeded. He just ate it. And he got, even the guys was like, we gotta keep him, because he's like, you were telling us that we moved slow, but I didn't realize how slow we moved till that 60-year-old guy came out here.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, those kids got to like step up their game. They don't want to be showed up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Some accountability, get some job site accountability going on.
I'll give you an example. Yesterday, they had 16 budget hours between 3 young guys, and they didn't get finished till 3. Right. Today they did 30 budget hours with 2 young guys and the older guy.
Yeah.
30.
I love it.
Nice. Do you rent him out?
Hey, he showed up on my doorstep.
Days.
Like literally, he literally showed up on my doorstep.
I had a guy like that for about a year that stuck around. great too. I mean, he was probably close to 60.
Yeah.
This dude. And he would just throw like 25 pieces of sod in a wheelbarrow and just push it up the hill. And I'm like, man, you're a stud.
Yeah.
Sean, how's Frank running?
Frank's running good, man. I was just looking at the schedule here. It looks like I'm breaking him back out on Friday. Had him out about a week and a half ago. He's
Uh-huh.
killing it.
Yeah.
He's doing great. So
I think I saw a photo where he was back in action. I thought for some reason this is your Sean's aerating machine.
yeah, man, he's. Well, I don't know. I was worried I was gonna have to get one of those Bluebirds at some point early this year. It was an expense I wasn't looking forward to, but Frank
Those
tells
are-
me he's gonna hang around for at least a few more months, hopefully through the rest of the year.
Yeah. Isn't Gerhardt the only one with one of those Bluebirds, the aerators? He's got one, right?
He had like the original one that they were like just
From the show.
showcasing from the shows, and they are producing them now. I talked to a dealer that said they could get one in for me, but they're not. I think they're like $3,500, something like that. With
I think
the
they're more than
batteries, maybe
I
more.
think they're more than that. Yeah.
Do you guys, Michael Reed, do you guys do a lot of aerating where you are?
No, we don't do any.
They're liquid
Um,
aerators.
Yeah, liquid aeration, but I mean some, but not much. But
What's up with
two
like
things
gypsum?
with warm season grass, it's a whole different animal. But you don't if you're gonna aerate warm season grass, you want to aerate grass during the growing season, which for cool season grass is spring and fall, because that's when the roots are going to take advantage of the extra space and grow into it. In the spring and fall, warm season grass is dormant. So, all these companies aerating St. Augustine and Centipede and Bermuda in March and, February, March, April, they're just, I wouldn't say taking people's money. I think there's some benefit, but not a lot. If you're going to aerate warm season grass, you're going to want to do it in July, August, September. And that's when, I don't want to create another peak in my business, when that's the height of our mowing season also. And
Yeah.
the grass, that's when you guys are having a double cut in the spring and fall. In the spring, with the cool season grass, we're having a double cut in the summertime because the warm season grass loves the heat, and that's when it's growing the most vigorous. So, I'm not going to. It just wouldn't make sense for the business, and there's not nearly the amount of benefit to aerating warm season grass as cool season grass. Especially if you're close to the beach and you have sandy soil, you're just basically poking holes in sand, and it just fills
It's
back.
gonna fill itself back in.
Yeah, it just fills back in. But yeah, that's the main reason we don't aerate, because it would be during a time of the year where it would increase the workload greatly when the workload's already high.
Mm-hmm. We rarely do it here. I mean, we've got obviously, we've got St. Augustine. We're seeing a lot more emerald zoysia now, but I mean, it's very rare.
Yeah.
We will only do it kind of if somebody says, "Hey, do you do this?" Then we will occasionally, but it's not. It's less than 1% of our business. What about you guys, Jake? I mean, you guys aerate in the springtime. When do you do it at all?
Yeah, big time. So basically that's all that this week has been. So we're here
Okay.
mid-April. The grass is just kind of finally starting to green up and really start to grow. So we're going to town on aerations, and I'm a big fan of aerations. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think there's a ton of benefits, especially out here in Colorado. We have real heavy clay soils, and it's a high profit margin service that we provide. It kind of feels like you're sumo wrestling that aerator around the yards. So
you should come try Frank.
Yeah, and I guess to Michael's point, I mean, it probably makes more sense to you, right? Because you're not cutting a lot of grass right now. So it's almost like the stars are aligned for you with aerating because you're wanting to do it, pre-season. So it puts you guys to work sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm actually actively taking notes of, try not to create peaks in services throughout your season, to Michael's point. So yeah, that's kind of what we try to do. We try to kind of basically start spring cleanups as soon as the snow is melted, and then as soon as that grass starts growing, and barely growing, right? It's just turning green and really barely starting to grow. We're hitting it with the aerator, and then we're also fertilizing pretty heavy, and we do overseeding here as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado is really inhospitable for Kentucky bluegrass. It does not want to live here. We do it against its will.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we
Do you
prop
do
it
a
up.
lot of overseeding in the spring, or like primarily in the fall, a little of both, or is spring like the main season for that out there?
Spring is the main season for us. We've seen very little success in overseeding in the fall because the precipitation is way less reliable in the fall for us, and we can have 80-degree days into November, and we're so dry out here. You know what I mean? Like our average humidity might be 10 to 15%, humidity.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that makes it really tough for those little seedlings to come up and actually survive. So that's
Yeah.
why we really focus on overseeding in the spring.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
so you said you're primarily Kentucky bluegrass where you are?
Yeah, so basically, we're mainly Kentucky. I mean, it really depends. So I've kind of switched to Rich Lawn. They're a local company here, and they make a Colorado premium grass blend. And actually, what it is,
I'll
is
bet
it,
they did
Yes, they do.
in Colorado.
hey.
420 knocking on the door.
That's tomorrow, by the way. Go on.
Yep. Happy 420, everybody. So it's actually a little heavier on the fescue and the perennial ryegrass because it's just way hardier in those hot months.
Uh-huh.
And so I want to say it's only 10 to 15% Kentucky bluegrass in this Colorado blend. So yeah, I've kind of switched over to that to give my customers' lawns a little bit more diversity, a little bit more resilience throughout our we go from snow and, negative temperatures all the way to, low 100-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
So it's just a wild fluctuation out here.
So do you guys take in your region, in my mind, do you guys do a lot of hardscape projects or do you get a lot of requests for those?
Yeah, we do. The big thing out here is xeriscaping. You may have heard like Arizona, New Mexico, these states, they're like outlawing grass.
Yeah.
Because out here in the West, especially, we're kind of coming out of like a 3-4 year drought period. We're finally coming out of it. But it's been really big. Like in my county, actually, they're providing a $4,000 reimbursement if you want to xeriscape your front lawn.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was out there for a wedding last year, and I was blown away just walking around town. How many just native landscapes people had in like just little front lawns, like in the city, in the community. It wasn't like it was just wild. I mean, they're really well maintained, beautiful spots, but it was like no lawns at all. It's pretty cool.
Mike, do you see
Yeah.
that where you are also? No
No.
xeriscapes?
No.
Oh, okay. So
Never heard
Jake,
of that.
so Jake, does your company do the xeriscape installs?
We do, yeah. We do like kind of the basic ones, and going back to some things that we've talked about, we're staying away from the real big stuff
Yeah.
this year. But up to like a $10,000 xeriscaping, like we'll do that. But it's kind of nice, man, because it's real straightforward.
Yeah.
Typically it's going to be a mix of mulch and rock, and then you're basically just planting accent plantings of typically like native plants, and then running a few drip lines. So it's pretty straightforward. I guess maybe one of the biggest pains is maybe tearing out the grass.
Yeah.
But
to
other
do
than
the
that,
install.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
We don't have a lot of that. We're seeing a lot more hardscaping. Our client has actually kind of changed. Our climate rather has actually changed a little bit here. It's become a little more arid, just more sandy, and um we had like 90 days last year. We had a 90-day period of no rain, and a lot of lawns were lost. So now we have a lot of people that are asking us, "Hey, we're thinking about not doing a lawn this year. Or we're just doing minimal lawn and then do hardscape." Um, that seems to be pretty popular here. Are you guys hearing that too, Jamar, down in Houston?
No, no, we're not. No,
No.
we did lose a lot of lawns.
Yes.
But no, there's a lot of talk of native plants, and I'm in that game right now. Like I prefer to plant those. Because and then also I prefer to debunk the idea that native plants are maintenance free.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so no, we're not seeing people want to xeriscape or a whole lot of hardscaping. I think people like the hardscaping if it fits the aesthetic of their house, but I don't
Yeah.
think it has to do with our climate at all. The one thing that we are getting a lot of questions is do we have something that's more freeze tolerant? Because
Yeah.
people have replaced their stuff from the past couple of freezes we've had.
Yeah.
Now they're tired of dying
Yep.
during a freeze. So and a lot of the stuff that helps that are the natives, things like that kind of will die back and then come back from the roots anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're putting in right now. So we're not hearing a whole lot of people wanting to get rid of their stuff, but I'm all for getting rid of their lawn. Like, it's actually a business strategy of mine. This may sound a little sinister, but I'm kind of like Gerhard on that like, let's eliminate some of this lawn. Now it didn't change their lawn mowing price, but we will take out some of the lawn. We will kind of restructure some of the lawn so it's even easier to mow, but then also add them onto maintenance programs and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But it also, it's better for water retention. It's better for mulch work. It's better for the bees and the butterflies and the habitat, stuff like that too. But we're all for cutting down on some of that lawn, and we can make it a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter, a little bit easier to manage, easier to mow. Sounds a little selfish, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting too, because I've had 2 calls. I was fielding calls today for probably an hour after my day because I had a lot of people I needed to call back, right? Just phone tag. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And 2 of the people that I spoke with were asking about native installations. They wanted to just take some things out and do a native installation. This is like, it's not new to me. Obviously, I know what it is, having been in this industry for a while, but to hear anybody call me and ask me for that it kind of freaked me out a little bit, I'm like, wait, what are you asking for? And the first thing I thought about was Gerhardt. I'm like, I got a gig for you, Gerhardt. Why don't you come down here?
Yeah.
Do this thing. So yeah, native installs. I guess that's a thing. We've got an influx of people coming here from California, just like crazy. So maybe that's,
Yeah.
I think that's got a lot to do with it, man.
it could. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to become more and more common in the West here. West of the Mississippi, man, like our long-term water picture is not looking good. It's bleak, and so it's in the media. And so what follows that is, well, what do we do about it? People want to do something about it. To their credit, they're driving the Tesla, and then what can they do instead of watering so much? Put a couple yucca bushes in their yard and call it good.
Yeah.
So
some black Tejas gravel here in Dallas. That's a thing. All the new builds have got the emerald zoysia and the little concrete pads going up to the front with the outline with the black Tejas gravel.
But they're in for a rude awakening on that zoysia. I don't know. Well, the zoysia guys are doing a jam up job selling this stuff, but
yeah,
somebody told people that this stuff is drought tolerant, that it's animal, that pet, tolerant, and all this other stuff. It's shade tolerant. No, it ain't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is actually more drought tolerant. It does not. It's about the same shade tolerance as a Raleigh St. Augustine.
You're right, but there's so much better St. Augustine's for shade. right?
Yes.
And so, but yeah, and I'm not saying don't do it. We're seeing a lot of it too. I'm
Uh-huh.
not, we've actually installed some of it, but I also, just like the natives, everybody's like, oh, it's maintenance free. No, it's not.
Right.
It's good marketing. Plant suppliers and the grass suppliers, they want to tell you this is this magic thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as maintenance free. We have a zero-scape yard that we do. We're pulling weeds all the time out of rocks and spraying the rocks.
I tell
So
people it's less
not-
maintenance.
Yeah.
It's easier to maintain, but you still got everything around it, right? Like
Yeah,
like you said,
easier-
the weeds coming up through
Yeah.
everything. That's still got to be pulled.
Easier for
You don't
who?
have.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you guys, there's not a lot of that going on here in Dallas, especially not in Highland Park. Everybody are, Park cities. People want their flowers and their regular beds.
annuals and
It's
their-
very
yeah.
swapping
Yeah.
out annuals twice a year. It's
Yeah,
rare.
Mhm.
America.
Yeah, occasionally we'll get some pretty cool clients come on that are full on organic. And I'm a big perennial gardener myself. I love the perennials. So anytime I start having a conversation with somebody about perennials, it's like they become a client of mine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna close it up because we got an hour and 15 in the can. Unless anybody's got any closing thoughts whatsoever, gentlemen.
It's good to be back. Missed you guys.
Yeah, it is good to be back, dude. It's been a few weeks. The spring hit us hard. I think we all rolled into it and we're like, what? Whew. But yeah, anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Electric Lawn Talk. We're on all those pod chasers, as Jake would say. We'll see you guys